Hi, I'm Dave Wheeler. You might remember me from such great parts of this episode as the first one. I've been abandoned by my cohorts, but that's okay. I'm here to tell you a little bit about a couple awesome things, show you how to draw a couple things, and at the same time, not trip over every word that I try and say. So that's okay. So, as I was talking about in the first part, my name is Dave Wheeler. I am the owner and co-founder of Mindwave Comics, which you can find at mindwavecomics.com. And we do kid-friendly, all-ages comic books. But as I was saying, we work on a lot of other projects that aren't necessarily published through Mindwave Comics, so we collaborate with other companies. I mentioned Chikara Pro earlier. Another company that we work with is Bellwether Media, located here in Minneapolis. We did these educational graphic novels for them, focusing on Neil Armstrong and Edmund Hillary, and I know that I did that backwards, but that's okay, because you know what? They're still good. They focus on the first ascent of Everest and the first walk on the moon. We put these out last year, and now they have been distributed throughout school libraries across the nation, and I guess are getting translated into a couple different languages too, which is pretty rad. So once again, conveying the message of kid-friendly, all-ages comics across the world. As you can see inside, all the educational awesomeness that abounds. But you'll have to pick up a copy in order to see more, because I'm not entirely sure how much of that I can really show on camera, but that's okay. So, one thing that we were going to talk about is what's called a con sketch, which is basically what an artist will do if they do a signature. Some people will draw a little picture with it real quick. For instance, mine is a quick head sketch of Wonder Boy, one of my main characters. So I guess with that, I'm going to start over here on the whiteboard. And actually, I'm going to start with my red marker, because it'll be a little easier to see. So basic head construction, I do a profile shot. So what I have is a basic head. So this is viewing from the side. So you have the ear, you have the front of the head. For sake of ease, you can kind of start seeing it form out by drawing the lips and the nose. What I usually do is I'll sign my name and then I'll do a quick sketch, which I'll show you in full speed here in a minute. But this is just kind of breaking down the drawing. So you have your basic head. You have your eye go in there. And then, through the magic of television and this black marker, you're going to be able to see it a lot easier. So, what I do usually is I'll start with the brow, pop out to the nose, bring that in, bring the upper lip into a smile, bring the lower lip down to the jaw, swoop that up, give yourself an ear, and I draw it a little bit different every time because I find I draw ears several different ways. Throw the eye socket in there, but remember, Wonder Boy has a domino mask on, so with one simple line, all of a sudden he has a mask. Boom, domino mask. You throw in his facial hair, which is a sideburn with a chin strap, which usually is just a lot of squiggles. Throw in his hairline. And then what I do is I'll usually do his kind of hair swoop down like that to define his hairline, a couple up, back, and forth. So bring the neck down, bring the neck of his t-shirt in, a line to actually define that muscle that's right there. It's kind of hard to see on me, but that's okay. And then you just go in and you start doing fill lines, which is basically you just want to shade in a couple areas to get that cool superhero look. Now usually I won't draw, or I won't shade in the entire mask even though it's all black. What I usually do is kind of something just to kind of define the shape. So I usually try and make it defined in for kind of that sunken in area around the eye, the actual eye hole of the mask. Then since he wears a baseball sleeve tee, Give him his sleeves. And a W, finally. And there you have it. A really quick, really easy Wonder Boy sketch. I usually do that pretty much every single time that I sign my signature. And usually I have him saying something to the extent of, hey, this marker doesn't work. Hey, thanks. And there you have it, just a really quick sketch, but I find doing stuff like that and doing something simple and fun can really add to the specialness of that actual signature. And that's always kind of been something that I focus on. I want to make sure that everybody that comes by the table at shows, like the shows here sponsored by the MCBA, MSP Comic Con, or Fall Con, or any of the comic card shows, I always try and make something a little bit more special if I can. Doing little head sketches, doing a signature, or doing a character that's more in the book. If it's a issue of the Bolt Strikes rather, I'll do a drawing of the Bolt. If it's Totem, I'll do Totem. Even when I'm not the artist on the book, if I'm just the writer even, I'll still provide one of those head sketches because that's the little stuff that I think makes a difference. As I mentioned on the first show, I had a very surreal experience with a couple kids telling me that Misadventures of Wonder Boy was their first book. And to see the happiness and passion on their faces for reading and following these stories of characters that I created, or co-created in some instances, was fantastic. And again, it's a very surreal thing for a small independent creator to have experiences like that. 3 years ago out in San Diego, I had people keep on coming up and saying, hey, can I get my picture taken with you? I said, sure. And I thought they just thought I was someone else. They thought that I was dressed up as someone. And lo and behold, it turns out I finally asked, hey, who am I dressed up like? Who do I look like? And they said, you do Wonder Boy. That's a really surreal experience for me because never in a million years did I think I would actually have that recognition. But that's pretty cool. I am desperately trying to figure out what else to fill this time with. But here, let's start another drawing. So let's get this taken off. And let's draw the other character that we were focusing on in the first part of the show, Cinder. Now, granted, I won't be drawing or even writing this book any longer. I have handed it over to two very capable, very awesome creators, Adam Vermillion and Eric Schuster. I'm pointing over there because Adam, even though he's abandoned me, is sitting over there in the booth, chuckling. I see you. I see you. But that's okay. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the same basic idea. We're just going to do it from the front this time. So we start with the basic head shape. We're going to put in what's called the crosshairs, which will give you your nose and face to actually properly line up. And so we'll bring this down, give you your basic nose, give you a little smirk. And Cinder actually wears goggles. He has a really cool kind of over-the-head mask. We'll pop up an image here somewhere in post. But basically, what you do is we'll toss that in, and we have these little flame accents on there. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of wipe away that excess, the joys of whiteboard markers. We'll draw on the rest, and then we'll just do a quick, what are called reflection lines, to kind of fill in those lenses so that you kind of get the cool light refraction off of them. Again, this is a really quick, rough drawing. We're just trying to knock something out so that you can kind of get an idea on how to draw them. But, you have kind of a fun basic shape going on here. And basically, this is the basis for everything that, you really go forward with. I mean, utilizing basic shapes is one of those cool things that you slap them together and you end up with something really, really cool. But once again, we'll do a basic neck coming down, throwing his traps, bring that on. He has a cool Mandarin collar on his uniform. So I can erase out that. And there you have a really quick, really, really rough Cinder. But again, we're just kind of doing some fun drawings here so that you can get more ideas about some of these characters. What else can we talk about? Let's see. Well, I was showing, during the break, I was showing them some of the individual pages and original pages of The Misadventures of Wonder Boy. So we can take a quick look at some of those. So we're just going to take a quick break so we can set up a stand, and I'll get those out for you. Hey guys, welcome back. As I said, we'll get these pages set up. These are two original pages from The Misadventures of Wonder Boy, issue number 2. What I wanted to do is just kind of show you a couple quick details on there, then actually show you the final pages that are actually right here within the book. So if you take a look over here, you can see these are the original inks for the pages. Samir sent me over the pencils in what is called Blue Line. So it's actually a blue tint that's actually, it's what's called non-photo blue. So when you scan it in, you can basically just take it off by turning off the cyan color, or the cyan channel in Photoshop. But when you actually end up getting them, that gives you basically an outline to go over and actually fill in the darker areas and really kind of punch out the details. So if you can look at these real quick, the neat thing is you can actually see my ink strokes and whatnot on it. You can see where my brush was going crazy. Most of this was done with Winsor Newton brush by hand, not digitally, and a couple Micron Tech pens. The cool part is these are physical pieces of artwork. I know a lot of people have converted over to full digital. I still like doing a lot of the stuff analog. I like actually doing it by hand. Samir, for the most part now, actually does stuff digitally, which is cool. It turns out beautifully. When it gets over to me, usually I'll go through, I'll touch it up, I'll make sure that it looks just right before doing what's called lettering, which is actually adding in the word balloons and such. What I have here is The Misadventures of Wonder Boy, issue number 2. And I actually have these pages that you have the originals of right here in their final printed format. So the cool thing is, as you can see, the words have been added. The actual panel borders have been crisped up, as well as adding a few what are called gray tones. And basically what those do is add a third layer of depth, I guess. It actually helps add a little bit extra to it and kind of punches it up a little bit. But you'll see the actual word balloons right up here, so you can see the Hatosaurus Rex, the diabolical dictator dinosaur, giving his monologue to to Wonder Boy and his friend / girlfriend, Katie Preble. It's a process that every comic creator goes through, whether they're specializing in penciling, inking, coloring, or lettering, or even pre-press. The beautiful thing about comic books is it's a very collaborative project whenever it comes down to it. You're working with some amazing people, and you really have to trust that they're going to produce something that's just as awesome as you think it's going to be. So when I say that I work with my friends, I really do mean it. I've been very, very lucky to collaborate with so many amazing people to produce some really, really fun projects. Like I said earlier in the first part of the show, we have a huge variety of characters, ranging from Wonder Boy, who is just kind of your average teenager, to Marcus, who is the Bolt, who's powered by the Greek gods. You have Totem, who's based in Apache folklore, while still being a modern-day teen. You have Cinder, who is our homeless hero, which sounds a little goofy in hindsight, but he makes the best of his situation, and he shows that no matter what, you can still make a difference. And that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to make a difference. We're trying to get young readers to think outside the box in some of these ways of not every superhero is going to be you know, a 25-something-year-old white dude wearing spandex. Everybody can be a hero. And that's the fun part about Mindwave Comics is everyone is a hero, except for the Hatosaurus Rex. He's a Nazi dinosaur, so not a hero. But yeah, in conclusion, I guess, the cool thing about doing this stuff is actually being able to see it come to fruition. You know, it started all in 2009, and here we are 7, almost 8 years later. Is that right? I'm terrible at math. And we're still cranking away comics. We're still putting out books that we're proud of. We're still putting out books that are available for everyone to read. Hey guys, in case you couldn't tell, I was talking really fast. That's because I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little camera shy. I'm usually behind my desk drawing or writing by myself. But I have the advantage of actually getting one of my writers in here with me. I said he abandoned me. I guess that was a little bit of a lie. I'm sorry. He was right over there in the booth. But now he's come all the way around to right here. Come on out, Adam.
Hi, I'm back, everybody. I'm here to help my buddy, just like the superheroes that we were talking about on this show.
That's a good one. I hope that picked up.
I hope it did too.
Right?
All right.
All right.
So you've been talking about the art
Yes.
of making comic books.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about the writing part
Heck,
of that
no.
process?
Okay, yeah,
no,
yeah, I
no?
would. Yeah,
Because I can go back to the booth.
Don't go back to the booth.
Okay, all right.
Stay
I will
here.
now. All right. So what we have here, we've got your pages from Wonder Boy
Yeah.
issue number 2. And so you might be looking at these pages like, how did they come up with these shots?
Well, I'm not. They are.
Well, they are, of
That's
course.
why they're here.
The folks at home watching this.
We're teaching them.
Yeah, we're teaching.
Look out there.
You might be looking at these pages like, well, how did they decide to use these angles, this number of panels, what have you? Well, that's because when you're writing a comic, you're doing a script.
Indeed.
And a lot of times you are going to do a script by page, and you're going to have panel breakdowns. So if you would look at this page here, and you start breaking it down to its component parts, you have 4 panels here to work with. So the script would probably say, whatever page that is.
Yes, sir.
So let's say page 10, and then it would say
It's page 2.
It's page 2. I've been corrected. The air's a little light in the booth, so I didn't know. So page 2, and then you would maybe say 4 panels.
Yep.
And then the next part of the script, you would say page 2, panel 1. And then you would enter your descriptor into...
Tell the fine folks
The fine folks at home. I'm not used to looking at a camera since I do podcasting. It's face for radio, So you'd have like page 2, panel 1, and you'd be like, Wonder Boy and his lady friend look off camera at the menacing Hatosaurus Rex.
Yes.
And then you would be like, page 2,
Panel
panel
2.
2, and you would say, the Hatosaurus Rex gloats.
Yes.
Laughs.
He
or
does that
whatnot.
quite often.
Because he's a Nazi, and Nazis gloat. So, and then, I don't know. I'm not all technical on the writing. What would you call, is that
This is what's called an inset panel.
inset
so
panel.
that panel is actually one that is breaking the borders and actually getting inset right here. So it is actually set within this larger panel, which would technically be panel 3. So it would say inset panel, Wonder Boy looks angry. Now he's gearing up for a fight.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what would be called kind of an apex moment. It's a moment of really bringing that story up to a peak where you can start then building that story to its finale. What this is building to that top point where all of a sudden you reach that pinnacle and then it kind of tips and then you can kind of go softly down to the conclusion. When you end at this top point, at that very, very, pinnacle of your story, it's a cliffhanger because you're literally left up at the top of your story.
And one of the things you want to do while you are composing a script is you want to pepper the script with mini cliffhangers.
Oh, yes.
At the end of usually every odd-numbered page, you want to make sure that the panel description that you have written and the action that's taking place is something that is going to want the reader to turn the page as quickly as possible to see what happens next.
Indeed.
So when you're writing these scripts, not only are you needing to focus on what you're doing from a story aspect, but there's a technical aspect to it as well that you need to portray to the artist, so they can bring the story to life, and also do like I said, mini cliffhangers.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
No, see, it's not as easy as
No,
it
it's
looks,
not.
right?
No, it's not.
Now the cool thing is going between all these 3 cameras, you're getting a couple different angles here. But the cool thing is with these 3 shots, so here we have camera 2.
Yeah.
We have a wide shot. You can see both of us. We get some cool action going on here. Now if you go over to camera 3, you get a cool over the shoulder
It's just
shot.
me.
Which, what? No, I don't, oh, it's on you now.
It's
yeah,
on
that's
me.
even cool.
It's on me. Hi, guys.
Yeah, I don't know, it moved. But see, now that would technically be something that we could use the inset shot for. Well, not anymore. Now it's a little bit wide. That's okay. We're getting some cool action shots in here. But the neat thing is now you have a really cool up close shot. Now, if Adam brings his face right down here, bring your face right down here, Adam.
Right here?
See, now, if I was to punch Adam right here in the face.
I need it.
Like
Oh.
so. Oh, why'd you gotta ruin it, Adam?
Oh, because that's what I do.
You bring him in right here. Just, that would be a really cool shot. That would be a really cool inset shot. And you can use those moments to really emphasize the action in fights. You can also use those same moments and panels to emphasize important moments. If you maybe have a handshake, or maybe you have a kiss, or maybe even just a cool high five. You can really drive that point home by putting emphasis on it, by really zooming in and making it emphasize the importance of that moment.
Or perhaps even a magical ring that needs attention drawn to it.
That's true. You'll learn more about that in Cinder
Yes.
#1, coming soon from Mindwave Comics.
See
You
how I
wrote
did
it.
that? I wrote it.
That was good. Good showing.
So if you have problems with it once it comes out, you know who to blame. It's not him.
It's not me. It's him.
But he took the chance on me, so that's appreciated.
It's like that ABBA song, but we can't use that because of copyright.
Probably not.
Anyways, but the cool thing is like I was talking about collaborating with different creators and whatnot. I had an idea. There was a character. There was an outline. I handed it over to this man. He ran with it full speed, and now he has created an awesome issue 1 that I cannot wait to see come to fruition. You will see original pages like this, maybe on a different episode. You'll maybe see them online at our website, mindwavecomics.com. When in doubt, you'll see them around at shows all over this great nation of ours.
Or you can probably buy copies of them
True.
that me and Eric haven't pilfered to keep for ourselves.
You won't pilfer. I'll give them copies. You can get them from the gentlemen themselves. They're fantastic people, and I'll always support them just because they always support me.
I'll take it.
Seriously, they're great people. But that's the thing is the book started from a small idea. Now is in the collaborative process. We'll create a product that will actually be available nationwide, be available at shows, be available at local comic shops, and it all started right here in the Twin Cities. Again, with this man's podcast, Panels and Pizza, a lot of people are getting the chance to know more intimately these creators that are producing these ideas that are getting out into the world that not a lot of people would know about otherwise. Like I said, a lot of people don't think of Minneapolis as an awesome comic mecca. When you say that, people think Portland, people think Austin, people think New York. They're great. They're amazing areas with fantastic people and a fantastic amount of creators. But I think it's about time that the Twin Cities gets put into that same sentence.
Yes, the Twin Cities comic scene is what we refer to it as, and it's a gigantic scene. You wouldn't know it, but if you get out to the conventions, especially the MCBA's MSP Comic-Con on May 20th and 21st.
Yes, and their Fall Con, which
It's always in
the date has
October.
not been, it's always in October. Date has not been announced yet, but they're putting on cool shows
Yeah.
that benefit great causes.
Lots of, they're run by a charity, they are a charity.
Yes.
It's all run by volunteers, and they have just a bevy of local talent.
Indeed, and the cool thing is more and more we're seeing more artists come in, and artists, writers, just creators in general coming in from across the country to be a part of these shows. And that is a fantastic thing to see, because again, the Twin Cities comic scene, amazing as it is, there's always room for more. And each and every day we see it grow, which is fantastic. This has been a lot of crazy rambling in this episode. We've gotten a plethora of topics covered. But, one of the fascinating things about comics is there's no definitive end. So the cool thing is we're just going to keep going. That's right. We don't have any idea where we're going, and that's half the fun. We have ideas for scripts that, while it may start out with a defined ending, we might just go for another 3 issues because we find a cool villain, we find a cool love interest, we find a cool fellow hero to carry on the story. And that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, something comes up while you're writing that wasn't there when you scribbled out that initial plot for the issue. As you're breaking the pages down, you're like, oh, I want this to happen on page 1, this to happen on page 2, and you start really getting into the bones of the script. Something might happen. Your character might do something unexpected. You might need to have a new character appear because you need a conversation to take place. And that new character might show up, and you never know what might come out of a new person being
There.
entered into the storyline.
Yep. Never judge a book by its cover, because there's a lot of awesome stuff on the inside too. So we are about out of time, thankfully. So I just want to say thank you to Mary for getting us in here.
Oh, thank you very much, yes.
Thanks to Adam for coming on. Thanks to the whole production
Dave.
crew. And thank you for just having fun and putting up with our shenanigans. I'm Dave Wheeler. This is Adam Vermillion.
Yeah, and so make sure you check out Mindwave Comics.
At mindwavecomics.com.
Yeah.
And Panels and Pizza, which he'll put up the link later.
Yeah, fancypantsgangsters.com is where you can find panels and pizza.